Today we're making soda bread. Not that sweet loaf that's filled with raisins and caraway and resembles a scone. No, we're making real Irish brown soda bread. It's malty, it's craggy, and it's made with very few ingredients, the star of which is wholemeal flour. Now, this wholemeal flour has a really coarse texture. It actually has the whole bran, very coarse grind. You can see all the bits of the wheat right in there, but it can be really hard to source here in the United States. And when you do find it, it can be very expensive. But it's what gives Irish soda bread that craggy, rustic interior and nice, sweet, nutty flavor. So Erin's here, and she's going to show us how to make Irish brown soda bread without the star of the show, wholemeal flour.
I certainly am, Bridget. Absolutely. So I actually grew up on the style that you mentioned earlier with the raisins and caraway seeds, and it's a family recipe, so I'll always love it. It wasn't until I went to Ireland about 25 years ago that I discovered this type of bread that you're describing, the Irish brown soda bread. It was everywhere in the B&Bs, in the pubs, in the restaurants, everywhere. And as you mentioned, this wholemeal is not really easily found here.
No.
So one of our biggest challenges was to make a substitute.
Okay.
I'm going to show you how. So as you can tell, American whole wheat flour is very fine, it's very uniform, and it's very different from that wholemeal flour.
Right.
So we are starting with 2 cups of whole wheat flour. It's really important that you have fresh whole wheat flour or that you pull it out of your freezer that's been in there for no longer than 12 months. And to this, to get that texture, we're going to add 1 cup of bran, and then we're going to add a 1/4 cup of the germ, which is the center part of the kernel.
So you're basically recreating wholemeal flour.
I am.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely. 1 ingredient at a time. The loaf that we baked with just this mixture was definitely better in texture, but was a little too weedy. So we're going to add 1 cup of all-purpose flour to kind of cut that weediness. To this, we're going to add 2 teaspoons of sugar, and this is going to kind of mirror the sweetness that you would get with a wholemeal flour.
Nice.
We're going to add 1 teaspoon of table salt, and I'm going to add 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. Believe it or not, we're not relying on the baking soda to leaven our bread. We actually are relying on it for flavor. It adds a nice minerally flavor to the bread, and it also helps with browning. We're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and that's going to really leaven our bread. All right, so now we're just going to whisk these together. Now I'm going to add 2 cups of buttermilk. It adds a nice tang, and also the acid in it is going to react with the baking powder and the baking soda. So now I'm just going to stir this together until that buttermilk is worked in and all the flour has absorbed the buttermilk. And it's just a rough, craggy texture, as you can see. And now I'm just going to turn it out onto our board. I'm just going to mix it together until it comes into a 6-inch round. It's a little tacky, but it's still manageable. And there we are. Now I'm going to cut a 5-inch cross in the top. That's about 1/2 inch deep. As it bakes, it's going to allow it to spread. Now I'm just going to transfer this to an 8-inch cake pan to really corral the loaf. So as it bakes, it's going to start to spread, and we want it to corral it so it spreads out and up. This is going to bake in an oven that's at 375 degrees on the middle rack. It's going to take about 40 to 45 minutes to bake, and I'm going to rotate it halfway through.
Okay.
All right.
Soda bread gets its name and flavor from its traditional leavening agent. That's baking soda. But our version also uses baking powder. So what's the difference? Well, for starters, baking soda is what's called single acting. Baking soda is a simple chemical compound containing sodium, hydrogen, oxygen, and carbon. It acts as soon as it comes in contact with an ingredient that's acidic, like buttermilk, by breaking down into smaller molecules, including carbon dioxide gas. This single-acting baking soda reaction is fleeting and will wind down with time. Now, baking powder is a mixture of a few different chemicals, one of which is baking soda. It also typically contains 2 or more different acids. Baking powder is considered to be double-acting. The first reaction happens when it becomes wet, and one type of acid reacts with some of the baking soda. Once the batter is heated, a second reaction of the other acid and baking soda is activated. This double action gives the loaf more time and a more foolproof ability to rise. So, although it's called soda bread, we use baking powder for dependable lift and baking soda to impart that distinct flavor. Oh, that smells good.
Oh, look at that, Bridget.
Oh,
Can you smell that?
that smells so toasty. Oh,
So it's nice and lightly golden brown on top. I baked for about 45 minutes, and I'm going to take the temperature, and it should be 185 degrees, and we have 186, and that's great. That's fabulous. All right.
Yeah, well, that's really important, especially with a brown loaf of bread.
Yep.
It's hard to tell if it's done or not.
Yeah, absolutely. So now I'm just going to invert it onto this cooling rack. And then I'm going to re-invert it. So now we're just going to let this cool for about an hour. All right, Bridget, it is time. So now I'm just going to slice this in half. Can you hear that crust?
I can hear that crust.
That's a great sign.
Oh, look inside. Oh, that is beautiful.
Beautiful, rustic, craggy crumb.
And as much as I want to tear into a loaf as soon as it comes out of the oven, it's that cooling period that really also helps set the structure. So it is important to let it cool.
Absolutely. All right. How many slices would you like?
How many slices are you going to have?
I'm going to start with one.
All right, then I shall start with one as well.
All right, great. And we do have butter. We have Irish butter.
All right.
Salted. You got to have the salt, right?
You do.
Oh, my goodness.
You go for it.
Thank you.
You have to have the butter.
There you go.
Properly softened. Beautiful crust. Oh, the aroma.
I just dove right in, Bridget.
Unmistakably soda bread.
Yep.
It's got that little bit of that mineral tang to it, but it's just a little sweet. It's not the current cakey scone version at all, which is fine.
Worlds apart.
But this is a whole other thing.
Absolutely. Has that great texture, that rustic texture. You would never know that it wasn't wholemeal flour.
Beautiful flavor, and it's not too dense.
And this goes with pretty much anything. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, soups, salads, cheese.
Thanks, Erin. This is amazing.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing this.
And if you want to make this a beautiful Irish brown soda bread at home, use wheat bran and germ in addition to whole wheat flour. Add a combo of baking powder and soda for optimum lift and flavor, and bake in a cake pan for a taller loaf. So from America's Test Kitchen, a craggy, hearty, and easy loaf to make, Irish brown soda bread. And you can get this recipe and all the recipes from this season, along with product reviews and select episodes on our website. That's americastestkitchen.com/TV. It's also lucky, because I get to make it with you.
Thanks for watching America's Test Kitchen. What'd you think?
Well, leave a comment and let us know which recipes you're excited to make, or you can just say hello.
You can find links to today's recipes and reviews in the video description.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
See you later.
I'll see you later.